Ding dong, mother scratches. Welcome to World History 9. This is going to be lesson number 3, and we're going to go over the SQ3R strategy, but more importantly, I'm also going to show you how to access the digital resource, which is going to be your online textbook this year. It's finally here, and you're going to have to know how to access this on a daily basis because we will be using this throughout the school year. So the first thing you want to do is open up a Google browser. Google Chrome probably works the best, and you want to search APS portal. Once you go to the APS portal, you want to click on For Students, Akron Public Schools. Many of you probably already have this saved if you're an Akron Public School middle school student, if you're coming from an Akron Public middle school. You want to click on APS Learns portal right here. Once you do that, it'll take you to the applications screen, and you're going to scroll down until you find HMH Social Studies. That is the textbook that you'll be using this year. Once you click on HMH Social Studies, it will take you to the new digital resource, and American history is always going to pop up. So we are currently enrolled in world history, so we don't want this text. We want to click on this arrow and then click on world history. Once you do that, you will see a list of chapters. Now, the digital resource calls them modules up here. You can see modules, but really they're just chapters. So when you hear module, I want you to think of a chapter. We are not going to cover all this stuff way back here. We're going to skip way up to module 12, which is the Enlightenment and Revolution. So you want to click on Enlightenment and Revolution. That's module 12. And once you do that, it will take you to this page right here. So we always want student book. So make sure you click on the student edition, and there we go. All right, so we have Enlightenment and Revolution. If you ever want to go to the table of contents, you click here, and a box will open up, and it will show you the module and the different lessons. So we're going to be in Module 12, Lesson 1, and each module begins with an overview of the entire chapter. The essential question, I always encourage students to read that because it gives you the big idea of the chapter. And many modules will include a video at the beginning, such as this one on Isaac Newton, which relates to, again, the major ideas that you're going to learn in the chapter. To get to the next page, you have these arrows to the right and to the left. If you click on the arrow, it'll flip the page. Okay, so once I flip that page, I'm in lesson 1, as you can see up at the top, lesson 1. And then we have the scientific revolution. And again, make sure you're reading before you jump right into the text. The big idea, I like this, why it matters now, that kind of relates what we're learning to the 21st century. And then setting the stage is your introduction for the section. And once you've read all that, you're ready to jump into the reading. All right, so this would be the beginning of your reading, the roots of modern science. Now, let's go back to our SQ3R. You guys did this this week in class, and we talked about the method. So you should already have this in your table of contents. We can skip through this. You know that SQ3R stands for survey, question, read, respond, and review. The first thing you're going to do in your SQ3R is you're going to survey or skim the section. So when you survey, you're looking for clues as to what that section or that lesson is going to be about. I would read the titles, the major headings, subheadings. Visuals are huge. You guys are all 21st century learners. You're very much visual in your learning. So pictures, maps, charts, and graphs, those all help. Once you've skimmed that section, then you write a prediction about what you think this section is going to cover. And this is very important. Make sure you are providing evidence from the text in your prediction. Don't just give me a prediction, but tell me why you're making that prediction. All right, so let's go back to our text. And let's take a look at like how we would survey this. So like I'm looking at headings, the roots of modern science, the medieval view. I'm looking for vocab terms. This is a vocab, geocentric theory. Do I recognize it? New way of thinking, scientific revolution. This is causes for the scientific revolution. So I'm just skimming. I'm not reading. I'm just skimming. Again, I'm looking at, here's a picture here. We got Copernicus. He's an astronomer. We got the heliocentric theory. We got a graph. Galileo, another term in bold black font. Those are your vocab. We've got a video. I might even watch the video. All right. I got another photo. You get the idea. So we are skimming before we even begin reading. Once I have skimmed and surveyed the section, now I'm ready to make my prediction. Okay, so I predict that this section is going to be about changes in science. And how do I know that? Well, some of the headings and some of the vocab, such as Galileo, Copernicus, those were astronomers who came up with revolutionary ideas concerning the universe. That's your prediction. Could be your prediction. Okay, so what do we do next? We go to step 2, which is creating our questions. So we're going to read the boldface heading and restate it in the form of a question. You want to generate logical questions that require more than a one-word response. Listen carefully and closely. I do not want you to create questions that begin with who, where, and when. Those only require one-word responses, and it's basically getting trivial information. We don't want trivial information. We kind of want big ideas, cause and effect kind of stuff. So how and why, sometimes what, are much better than who, where, and when questions. All right, so let's go back to our digital resource and let's see how we would do this. So in our digital resource, we never create questions on this page. This is the title right here, and this is an overview of the lesson. So we don't have to worry about this page. We begin on this page. Anything in blue font, the roots of modern science, or red font, the medieval view, those would be headings and subheadings that we want to restate as questions. So for instance, the roots of modern science, we might ask, what were the roots of modern science? And then we would skim this section to find the answer. It tells us that the Greeks and Romans, or the Greek and Roman authors, or the Bible, provided the roots of modern science. That would be the answer to that question. The medieval view, again, what was the medieval view? So you would skim through this section to find the medieval view, and that means the medieval view of science. A new way of thinking. What was a new way of thinking in the 1500s? Skim through here, you would find that answer. So essentially, you're putting together your own reading guide or study guide as you read the section. And step 3 is going to have you read, obviously, and as you read, you're skimming through to find the answers to the questions you created. Step 4, answer those questions in your own words. Step 5 is where you're going to put all this information together in a summary paragraph. So you're going to state the main idea of that whole lesson and provide 2 specific examples that support that main idea. So if you're telling me that the main idea of this lesson was about changes in science or changes in astronomy, then I want 2 examples of those changes. One example might be that Galileo changed the whole way that we look at our solar system. Before Galileo, the church said that the earth was the center of the solar system. Galileo turned that whole notion upside down. That would be an example. So I always want two specific examples to support that main idea. And then lastly, we define our vocabulary. All right, so in the digital resource, I do like how they organize your vocabulary. Your vocabulary or your vocab is always going to be at the very end of the lesson. So as you flip the pages, still not there yet. Here we go. The vocab will always be in the review section. So you'll get a lesson 1 review. It will tell you what you learned, and then it will have review key terms and people. So you have 7 of them here. And in your SQ3R, you always want to define your vocab. That's what you do after the review. So I can simply scroll through geocentric theory. If I want the definition, I just simply click on the definition. I don't have to write this entire definition word for word. I can summarize and paraphrase it so it makes sense. So you don't have to write the entire definition, but you should give me the essence of the meaning, like what, get to the meaning of it. Don't write every single word. Put it in your own words as long as it makes sense. So that's how you would get to the definitions. All right, let's go back to our SQ3R. And this is how you're going to set up your SQ3R. You never put your SQ3R in your notes because I collect your SQ3Rs. If you want to set it up on a Word document, that's fine. If you like to do it on a sheet of notebook paper, that works. Basically, you're going to put your name, your period at the top, the chapter, and the section. So it's a digital resource. We're going with Module 12, Lesson 1. Roman numeral 1 is going to be your prediction. And Roman numeral 2 is where you start your questions and answers. Roman numeral 3 is your review. And Roman numeral 4 is your vocabulary. Okay, I hope this helped. Again, if you have questions, you can shoot me an email or you can ask me in class. Until we meet again, ding dong, mother scratches.